Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wizard. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Number 4. The MSNBC-produced documentary Diamond Hands, The Legend of Wall Street Bets, looks at some of the quirky characters, many behind the GameStop Wall Street win story, which was a wild story when it happened a year ago. GameStop was a failing business, then investors online made a ton of cash off of it. But since they weren't a part of that Wall Street club, they lost a lot of what they earned because of Robinhood, and weren't even able to leave the App Store a negative review because of their experience. The documentary is interesting because it is inherently an outsider story about some of these internet people, but it is produced by the cable giant MSNBC. These two communities are generally understood to be in a cultural war with one another. I don't know, that seems strange to me. But production-wise, it does not look or feel much different than the OxyContin documentary that TYT produced last year and that also played at South by Southwest, so maybe that should not be a point of contention. Diamond Hands is enough of a documentary, while perhaps a little void of substance on its topic, but perhaps I am just too skeptical of the MSNBC's intentions here with making the projects, and I am also quite financially illiterate to appreciate the work done here, I must confess. Number 3. The documentary Omahari, a San film by Kishibashi, is a good documentary looking at the parallels between the internment of Japanese American citizens in World War II and what could happen if alt-right language is literalized. Both Donald Trump and a Trump surrogate in this documentary are heard mentioning the 1940s internment policy, which is what sparks the fear here. Thankfully, the 45th president could be held back a lot because of increased awareness of the odious American policy to its Latinx population. Trump's wall was not built, but the idea of it lives on, so current Japanese-American musician Kishibashi made this documentary to help combat the growing anti-Asian xenophobia in the world. So he is doing his thing to help us out. We all can't be politicians or academics to bring about social change, or at least attitudes, so having a musician mixing some activism in his shows as well as make this documentary will probably help the situation out a bit. Kishi's show looks like fun, and anyone who uses their position to try and decrease hatred and humanity should be commended, so I salute him, and think that the documentary itself was slick fun. Number 2. Is Badass a badass documentary? Yeah, it's pretty badass. Not badass or badass, but not badass. It's a Corona diary for an Asian family-run restaurant in the States, which is certainly a sticky place to be in. Things can be annoying or too familiar for your liking, but these are real people getting the cinematic treatment, so basically anything that deviates too much from that is inherently not real and not in sync with a documentary from this period. Like another documentary that played during South by Southwest called Omahoya, a San film by Kishibashi, racism towards Asians is deconstructed by a humanistic depiction of Asian Americans. Sadly, we need a reminder that they are just like any other American. This was a documentary I really liked and verged into 4-star territory without quite making it. Like I said, it shows a certain ordinariness, which I do deem necessary, yet it did not quite captivate me in a way to bring it into 4 stars. Watch this and check yourself if you're a racist, though. And if you have not seen any of these Corona Diary documentaries or narrative films that are coming out these days, then this does have that novelty. It is solid goods that I really just like up to the point of seeing love without being quite there. But that's okay. It was a documentary that I got to watch with a nice twist of Americana that desires there be tolerance in there too. Number 1. Last Prisoner Project is a compelling legal organization that is trying to get people out of prison who were convicted on a marijuana charge in states where the plant is now legal, which seems like something obviously correct to me. The Sentence of Michael Thompson is the documentary short, and a part of this project, it tells a bit of the personal as well as a family story of Michael Thompson, who was convicted in 1994 to 42 to 60 years for selling 3 pounds of marijuana. This rapacious sentence seems completely out of whack with the contemporary values, but not of its time. So this is quite an emotional sledgehammer of a story that is toned down nicely, with the family talking most of the time. It humanizes a man who was more than a statistic, and while his life was ruined from this rapacious sentencing, his family having him back is some solid social justice. So if you like that sort of thing, then check out this short that just played at South by Southwest. Its length is another strength. This could have been a lot angrier and intense, rightfully so. Yet having the outrage more on the surface makes it friendlier in a detached way, but more accessible to a wide audience.